Hello and welcome to a new episode of The Other Russian. Today, I'm going to talk about psychedelics, and yeah, here's the process of making the episode. The back door, if you can say so. So yeah, just heard really listen actually, yeah, listen to a really good episode, informative on psychedelics, but actually not about psychedelics, about neuroscience, and the episode was recorded by Beckley Foundation. I mean, it is you can find it on Apple podcasts as Beckley Wave or something like that. But yeah, I'll put it in the notes. Um, yeah, let's do it right away. So, Beckley Waves, right? It was an interview. It was a conversation with a Doctor Neuroscience, uh, extremely talented um, person. She's a woman, and she's incredibly like great at communicating difficult concepts in phrases that are easily comprehensible. And yeah, I mean, listen to the podcast. I'm not gonna go through it. It's just important conversation starter. So yeah, besides that, I'm gonna talk about the other topic. However, I'm limited in time because I need a call to catch in like 30 minutes, and yeah, I need to leave a couple of minutes to go take a biological break. But anyway, so there she was. Damn, I need to find her. And yeah, by the way, let me just share my screen here and show you. Yeah, Dr. Amy Cruz. So yeah, this is the podcast, and yeah, just go listen if you're interested in neuroscience and well, general understanding of how brain works. And this is an email from mailing list that I've been holding there to just wait for some point in time and get to it. And finally today, after 22 days of receiving this email, I've opened it. I mean, not opened it, I went through the link and listen to that podcast. But it was more of a backlog thing for me here, because uh, basically there's a lot of information. There's a lot of things that I'm interested in, and sometimes they keep those mental hooks thrown here and there in order to get back to certain pieces of information. So yeah, like this one in particular. So they've been talking about neuroscience and understanding of how brain works, and especially now with all the knowledge, with all the information that is available to that uh, field of science, it is possible to again come up with extreme breakthroughs like combination of medical substances, regardless of whatever it is, and the science behind the understanding of how brain works, and then finding the perfect match of such medications depending on the aspects of how brain is constructed for different people. Because I mean, the general concept of brain, it is universal, but there are certain aspects that are, I mean, let's for instance take a case of an injury or a brain tumor or something like that. It affects the connections within the hemispheres, and of course the functioning of entire human body is dependent on how brain functions and whether or not it functions properly. So yeah, just go through that podcast. But yeah, again, the idea here is to talk about the psychedelics, and the reason being is that now, with all this attention to the psychedelics and the substances in general, and with the progress combined from other fields, you can now look at those practices and substances and the knowledge and the understanding of them through an entirely different lens, because it is more scientific. And in that episode, by the way, it was mentioned that the knowledge about the effects on brain was there ever since 50s, but there was not enough vocabulary in terms of the neuroscience that would allow to unpack those insights and those findings into what we now know about brain. So yeah, but again, thinking about those things and talking about the last time I spoke with you about the mushrooms, and I forget the name of the mushroom, but yeah. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying. So it is a psychedelic as well. So there is something that is happening, and I mentioned before about it. There's the psychedelic renaissance, and Beckley are the ones that have been looking at, and they are very intriguing company. Let's put it this way. They are science backed, so there's a Beckley Foundation there, and Beckley Foundation is kind of, I don't know whether it's pro-profit or non-profit, but anyway, they research psychedelics and they specifically invest in gathering scientific data and information about psychedelics and the ways not Beckley waves, the ways they influence us as human beings, and how you can apply it in basically. But yeah, I mean, there's the scientific data behind them, and then there are Beckley retreats. I think I did mention them before, and they have a really interesting concept. And unfortunately, I cannot allow myself to go there and experience that retreat due to the basically financial restrictions. Because yeah, it costs something like 6,500 euro per like week or per program. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, I just don't have that much money sitting on my lap to just go for it. But anyway, I've been looking after them, and I think I did mention this before, but among the people that run those businesses are people from like big corporate world, and there are people from McKinsey and some other companies. And then when you think about it, you're like, huh, that's interesting. So, once you think of psychedelics and kind of traditional perception that was formed by U.S. government, basically, in a sense. I mean, through Hollywood and some other variations and laws that were imposed. For instance, I known today that in India, in uh, Bengali region, it was prohibited to grow marijuana as of 1970 or 71 because of an agreement with the United States. So yeah, I mean, they're forcing whatever the fuck they want on the entire world. But yeah, going back to the standard image of hippies and people who, you know, uh, those consumers of psychedelics. And if you look at the various movies, one of my favorite movies in terms of, well, in general, actually, like, as if movie like great piece of art. So not only this, but also because it is very kind of nailing down the perceptions that people may have once using substances. And the movie I'm talking about is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This is legendary. It is after gonzo journalist Hunter Thompson, and that person in general is like one. He was one hell of a freaking talented, just crazy person, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, eventually killing himself. But what the fuck was I talking about? So yeah, going back to the movie and the visions that are being portrayed by the United States and the media and Hollywood. Yeah, there've been a couple thoughts that intertwined. So one of them being Netflix influencing the fucking world. But yeah, I mean, thank you guys. Or girls, doesn't matter. Both, all. But yeah, I mean, the other aspect is that fuck, almost lost my thought. But I think I did. I did lose it, right? Fine. Yeah, the influence is still there. So again, they are the ones that are kind of Oh yeah, I was talking about the image of those hippies. So yeah, you think about 60s, and again, perception is due to the movies, due to the culture, due to books, music, etc. But now you think, I mean, there are these big executives from big world, and there are like big and serious boys and girls, or whichever gender they are, like doing this shit, and they're not just some hippies anymore, right? I mean, they are out there, somewhere out there. They can influence a lot of people. And yeah, I mean, one of the things about the corporate world is that there are giants like McKinsey in the one of the top consulting companies in the world. Uh, my view is still number one, and those people are quite strange. They charge a lot, but I mean, I've heard various feedback from people and companies that work with them. It's mixed, but anyway, point is that they do influence a big part of the world because work with the biggest companies, and biggest companies have a lot of money. That's why they can afford working with them. But not only this, there's this another aspect, and I mentioned it to you before, the book that I'm reading, and finished the Patriarchs, and I went back to the book that I told you about before. It is called The Emperor Wears No Clothes. So yeah, again, that conspiracy theory, if you remember, and I've recently seen a nice documentary in Russian language about the Konoplia, and that was interesting. I mean, I believe that they took a lot from the book, but they've added some more information to it. And for those of you who speak Russian, you can go and check out that video. I mean, it's really good. Uh, but yeah, the idea there is that big corporate structures, they create narratives, they control narratives, they shape the world. So McKinsey, by introducing some specific solutions in terms of creating strategies to big companies, like, I don't know, those are the responsible for that spill in the Gulf in Mexico, British Petroleum, which then tried to kind of rebrand themselves and reinvent and say they're beyond petroleum. But yeah, what the fuck? I mean, the oil was there, and that the CEO that got fired after like giving a really weird message, let's put it this way, to the entire world. So yeah, I mean, those companies, they do influence world one way or the other, whether we want it or not. And the people that are now involved in psychedelic world and the scientific world, on the brink of business world and intersection of business world, yeah, all of them. And then you start to think that they're up to something. But I mean, I definitely interested to get in touch with them and continue the conversation and the friendship and relationship, because I mean, those people understand that there's a lot more than their life, and there's corporate world. And psychedelics for me is, first of all, a tool that helps people open up their eyes in terms of understanding and feeling the connection with our planet. Let's put it this way. And there are various theories about noosfera, for instance, and this is like shit, I think it was taught to me in like seventh grade or something. Blavatsky or some, yeah, something like that. So anyway, so that feeling of interconnectedness with the entire humankind, it gives people a very different perspective in terms of understanding what is important in life. And even though, of course, financial aspect is always critical, I'm not again saying that you need to abandon your goals and chase for profits. And just be fucking mindful about Mother Nature, while you're doing it. So again, the entire destination and direction is first of all heading towards healing aspect, which is, I don't know, I mean, what else do you need? Right? And healing via different means and methods. So that, but of course, for such healing to happen in the first place, it must be there must be open-mindedness, a certain open-mindedness to it. Otherwise, it just makes no sense. Because if you are against it or you don't want to, just go with it. I'm not gonna convince you to do anything against your will. That's not the point. Again, the concept here is that those people, they want what's best for humankind, and this is absolutely brilliant, and it restores faith in humanity. And I myself have been working lately, yeah, not on this, it's a presentation that I need to do, record for the, yeah, our corporates. Yeah, the presentation for the project that me and my friend Wesley are about to build in Thailand. We're looking for investments, additional. But yeah, I mean, we've studied them all, studied some bankruptcies, and yeah, we do understand what it is. Oh, by the way, there's the next one from August 4th. I mean, seriously. I haven't gone through it yet, but I will. It's just a matter of time. But yeah, where I was heading to. Yeah, so going back to that resorts and the Beckley Foundation, I mean, they're doing a great job, and I do want to be part of this movement in a sense because it is about healing humankind, first of all, and there's a lot of healing required for humankind because again, if you just think about one of the religious aspects of Buddhism, for instance, which is technically not so much a religion because Buddha is not a god, so anyway. So the idea is that there's this eternal suffering, and in order to kind of get rid of this eternal suffering, we need to I've got to break free and from that vicious cycle, and yeah, just go with it. So, what I was saying, I don't know why, but I got distracted by George Michael. George Michael. What am I saying? Fred Mercury. Anyway, so damn. Thinking about them. So yeah, building that project in Thailand, we're also thinking and having those people in mind because we don't want to use any legal aspects like acid or anything. We don't want to do that, and we will not endorse it absolutely. But there are some other things that we can try and convey at that point. Is just this sense of connectedness with nature through human interaction, through experiencing, through like using all your senses and digitally detoxing yourself from the environment we live in. Because I mean, today, what is happening really? I mean, AI is everywhere. Every piece of technical equipment, it tends to be smarter than me. And yeah, I mean, the amount of information is expanding, and it's just insane. But it is important to disconnect from it all mentally. And there are different ways how to do it, like meditation, like new experiences, new flavors, new sights, new sounds, something that would tickle the emotional, not the emotional, but sensational part of human body. It helps a lot. But there are other things, again, meditation, doing some different, something different, or going in some different direction, building some neural networks in your brain. But yeah, So this is of course required and important, that reconnection with Mother Earth. But yeah, going back to that healing thing, I think I've remembered what I wanted to say there is that, again, in my view, and am just some random dude, saying out loud whatever he the fuck thinks. But if people that hold like critical positions in not only government structures, but like business or any type of hierarchical structures, would have taken LSD in a controlled environment with a sitter, with a professional support of a person who would take care of the mental state of such person, I bet there wouldn't be any fucking wars. I mean, seriously, once you realize it, once you kind of get in touch with that humankind neural network, and it's somewhat similar to what other species have, like, I don't know, bees or ants. So they are working I mean, by themselves individually, not manually, as if they have tools, right? But yeah, just imagine an ant with a fucking giant saw. Yeah, but they are also interconnected with their relatives or their hive or something bigger. So there is this similar connection for us as human beings. It's just we are not often in touch with it, and that connection, the establishment of such connection, requires certain practice or state of mind or whatever. But those people who like took acid once in life, they know and understand what I'm saying here. But yeah, I mean, imagine if that psychedelic renaissance would have just, you know, changed the world for better or for good. And this time, again, with all the predisposition, with all the images, with all the stereotypes, with all the potential hatred or some judgment against country like United States, for some people from Russia, for instance, which I clearly don't understand, because US has provided a lot of support to Russia throughout many, many, many years. And people just tend to ignore it and not think about it, or just the history is written, it's not mentioned in the history books anyway, nobody talks about it, so you wouldn't know. But yeah, I mean, why hold grudges? Because even though United States as a country and some corporations like DuPont, for instance, and I don't know, I mean, I'm just speculating here, I read a book, I know nothing. But yeah, I mean, they shape the world through legislation and influencing the government policy of the United States. They then were able to basically shift and shape the world. So they are, in a sense, responsible for prohibiting further research into various substances like marijuana and other LSD, DMT, and the other variations of drugs, basically. But and yeah, almost led to an extermination of an entire kind. I mean, the cannabis kind, basically. But again, I mean, according to the book, what do I know? Read the book. You'll decide for yourself whether or not I'm bullshitting you. But anyway, so they are all almost exterminated. They prohibited, they enforced these policy through Hollywood as well. So Hollywood played its part through the movies. So you've seen movies. I've seen a movie like fucking Requiem for a Dream. That's damn hard stuff, and I would advise to show that movie to a teenager in some middle school probably, because this is just fucking a good advertisement for not doing drugs. Not stop me. But yeah, anyway, great movie though. Requiem for a Dream. Yeah, I'll put notes. So um yeah, I'm going back to that the topic, so about healing and the aspects of it. So yeah, I'm just dropping notes here and then losing thoughts at the same time. But yeah, there is something written here that I want to put out there because the time is running. I'm running out of time, and I definitely need to address this because I meant to do it last time, but I forgot. So you remember last time that person cliffhanger, right? That person that died, Prigozhin. Yeah, that person. Like, yeah, there he is. So there's this other person who was in that plane with him, and the person is Utkin Wagner, Dmitry Valerievich Utkin. So this is the person after whom the private military company was called after. So let's look at the pictures. Let's look at the pictures. So what do we have in terms of pictures here? Okay, not much actually. That's interesting. But no, there it is. There it is. You can find it. So what do we have there? Let's have a look. Okay, well it is. It looks like SS or something, right? I mean, let's clarify for the search engine. Okay, so there are some pictures. Oh, there it is, right? Okay, okay, BN. Okay. Damn, I don't know. I mean, let's go with Russian. What happens? Will he get pinged? Okay, no crime. Yeah, so that person, right? And I've seen, I don't know why, but if you go to other tools like, I don't know. And yeah, he stands next to the president over there, right? So that person wearing those, well, yeah, I mean, you can see the caricatures, of course, by Ukraine, but I think uh, I mainly. Oh yeah, so this is some Russian source. Yeah, it's forbidden, of course, but yeah, I mean, I'm from Russia and trying open Russian resource. Like, I shouldn't do it. Of course, access to information should be controlled. But yeah, anyway, you get my point. So I mean, that's I mean, the best anti-Nazi movie is, in my view, with the fuck, by not by Sosky, oh, fuck, what's it called? American History X. Damn, I mean, put in the notes. So you see, the thing here about that private kind of military organization is that there are people like this, who are running it. And just to remind you that legally speaking, it shouldn't have been allowed. But yeah, what I'm saying is that, if people just went and took some LSD and went through the trauma they faced, went, heal the wounds, like address the problems rather than build further fences and try to outsmart everybody. Yeah, I mean, world would have been entirely different. So there's a lot of healing required, definitely for one nation, and unfortunately, it should be an enforced healing because nobody would want that, right? Nobody would want to admit that there is something wrong with us. But yeah, this is where it starts. But yeah, again, damn, I need to wrap up. I need to run for that conversation, that call. So yeah, talking back, talking about that event that happened. So whether or not the flight, got bombed or something, we don't know. But everybody's discussing it. So definitely Prigozhin worked as a distraction. I mean, yeah, nobody's talking about that anti-corruption fund investigation about one of the Putin's yachts, right? So, yeah, well, that's how they control the narrative. So thank you for listening, and yeah, let's see you each other next time. Bye bye.